utility, superiority of that truth. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vedanti tat tattva vidas, tattvam yadgyanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti, bhagavan iti shabdite, 1-11. Quote, the different learned transcendentalists know the absolute truth as one undivided spiritual substance beyond duality, but they realize it in three phases, as Brahman, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan. The central truth is not Brahman. Brahman is the all-accommodating aspect of the environment, and Paramatma is the all-permeating aspect who is within everything, everywhere. Another aspect is Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he is bhagya, auspicious. He is full of opulence, Aishvarya. So the first interpretation of Bhagavan may be given as Aishvaryaman, the source of all power, the controller of all potency. But the Srimad Bhagavatam has shown Bhagavan in another revolutionary aspect. It has taken the centre from a position of power to love. It has shown the centre to be love. Love is above power. It exists in a deeper plane. Power is external and love is higher. So it says, we know, God is love. That's in the Bible, isn't it? But, generally when people say something like that, they tend to mean it in quite a little bit of a sentimental type way. Love. What is love? So you have here this verse actually is very Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanti tat tattva vidas. The Vedantists, those who knows of the truth, or transcendentalists, that truth, tattva, vidas, they know it as the undivided spiritual substance, jnanam advayam. And Brahmeti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavan, iti shabdite. So three phases, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So generally Brahman by the Jnanis, they're seeking Brahman by the process of elimination, neti. What is the all-accommodating aspect of the environment? And the yogis for Paramatma, they're trying to get a darshan of the Lord in the heart, and that also is not very easy. It will take so much practice over lifetimes, and then even then they may get just some touch, some glimpse of the shining toenail, the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu in the heart, Paramatma, or we say all-permeating aspect, within everything, within every atom, within every soul. And that is, Paramatma is Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the third expansion. You have Mahavishnu, also called Karanadakshai Vishnu, because of Karana means cause, Sarva Karana Karanam. So the cause, what's called the causal ocean, is the ocean of the cause of the material universes. And that Karanadakshai Vishnu, then his expansion is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So then he's entering within each and every individual universe as a second Vishnu expansion. Garbha means the womb, so he's entering within the womb of the universe. It's womb because it's empty. Then it's half filled with water, and again, as Karanadakshai Vishnu lying on Ananta Shesh, Shankarshan, in the Karana ocean, so Garbhodakshai Vishnu lying in the Garbha ocean, again. And then again, the third expansion, Garbhodakshai expanding as Kshirodakshai, who is residing in Svetadweep, on the ocean of milk, in each and every universe, and then expanding within the heart of every living being as the super soul. Sometimes called Chaita Guru, but there is some subtle distinction also, I believe, between Paramatma and Chaita Guru. Chaita Guru means the Guru within, giving the witness and the guide, is giving guidance. And then Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So things come in threes, like it's you have your Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, 3 modes of material nature, 3 phases of time, past, present, future. You have your Pranava Omkara, A-U-M, it's actually composed of 3 letters, A, U and M. And then you have this Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, Trinity. And Sat, Chit, Anand also. So Sat, Chit, Anand is the nature of the soul, the composition of the soul. Like if we would have to say the body is composed of 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. Yeah. So the soul is composed of Sat, Chit and Anand. If you can put it in that way, but it's not quite the same to say as composition, as material composition, but there are 3 aspects. Although it's Advai Gyan, undivided, one undivided, can be seen as Sat, eternal existence, Chit, knowledge, consciousness, and Anand, bliss or fulfillment. So each Sat, if a realization of Sat, our eternal existence, is Brahman, realization, but that doesn't include Chit, consciousness. So that is to say, if a being, any being, is aware of their existence, if any being is existing, like even a stone or a tree, but if they're not aware of their existence, Chit, there's no Chit, there's no point to it, isn't it? A stone is existing but has no self-realization. So existence, and to realize, to know we exist, that's Chit. But that's also not complete. So I exist, and I'm aware that I exist. I have consciousness of that, which is knowledge. But fulfillment, then I exist, I know I exist. For what do I exist? What is the purpose of my existence? That's anandam, fulfillment, bliss, you can say. So that's complete. So Brahman is Sat, realization, Paramatma is Sat and Chit, and Bhagavan Sat, Chit, Anand, could say like that. So each one includes but transcends the previous one. So, and so in the deepest plane, this Anand, the center is love. Power is external and love is higher. Another trinity, you can look at it from the point of karma, jnana and bhakti. Power, energy or power, karma, knowledge, jnana and bhakti, fulfillment. So this Bhagavan, bhagya is opulences, Aishvarya, and van means the possessor of. So Bhagavan means the possessor of all opulences. So opulences, they're generally described as 6, divided into 6 categories, which do you know them? Krishna, what the opulences of Bhagavan. That would be Narayan also, but in general. Wealth, I'll say it very quickly. Wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation. So all are existing in Bhagavan in their complete form. So the Jiva soul possessing these qualities to some degree, a minute amount. Some wealth, some beauty, some fame, knowledge, some renunciation, etc. So Bhagavan means bhajaniya guna vishishta. So his guna vishishta, the variegated qualities of his existence, bhajaniya, that makes him worshipable. So in other words, coming into contact with that Bhagavan, one is not forced, but one is pulled, one is, what's the word? Attracted, but one is drawn to worship him, as if forcibly. Like irresistibly pulled. Bhajaniya guna vashishta. He is of such substance that whenever we come in connection with him, we want to surrender to him, worship him, merge our interest in him. We want to throw ourselves at his feet. We will think, that for which I've been searching, the Lord of my heart, I have here. I don't want anything else. Bhagavan is such. He excites eagerness to fall at his feet. He is all-attracting. Therefore, he is called Bhagavan. So when they come in connection then with Bhagavan, the other things you've forgotten about. You're then not interested in searching for knowledge. It's like if someone gives you something of the most desirable thing of your heart, that's it. You've got it. There's no need to search anywhere else. As Guru Maharaj says, going on a wild goose chase. So something that you can never get. With understanding, with knowledge, you'll never get to the end of the qualities of the Lord. So that's why generally say God can be actually captured by love, but never by knowledge. The intellect is limited, has its limit, And of course the great example of that is the Mother Yashoda and Krishna, baby Krishna. That with her love she could actually capture Krishna, or Krishna allowed himself to be captured then. And that devotee, was it Raghunandan Thakur, I think he said, how extraordinary it is that the absolute truth, who the yogis are seeking so assiduously from lifetimes of austerities, is now crawling in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and taking Nanda Maharaj's slippers on his head. His nature is such that the Atmaramas, those who have no attraction for this mundane world, will also feel irresistibly pulled towards him. Remember last week we were talking about that very much. The pull of the transcendental world. We were reading this about the Atmaramas Chamuneo Nigrant Aparukrame. Even those who are self-realized are irresistibly pulled towards him. He has such qualification. He attracts the soul to jump wholesale to his service. He will draw a wholesale surrender. So Vidyavatan Bhagavate Parikar. The Bhagavat is the test. It asks us, how far are you advanced in your theistic life? Can you do this wholesale surrender? Can you even think of it? Can you think that by dying you can live a proper life? That by dying as you are at present, a wholesale dissolution, you will gain yourself a new life? Are you bold enough for this? So that requires self-detachment, self-abnegation, letting go. We're holding on to so many things so tightly, even small, very small, petty things, So even this body, which is the centre of all our activities and all our endeavours, essentially, then even by giving up this body, Lord Chaitanya said, crores of times, thousands and thousands of times, I would do that if that meant that through that way I could get Krishna, but it's not so. It's not just a physical renunciation, that's dissolution of the physical and also the whole mental sphere, all our desires and aspirations and projections, subtle and gross, in the material plane. A wholesale dissolution to gain a new life. That's die to live. This verse is from Hegel, or this phrase, expression, but it's not directly translated from the German, but Guru Maharaj has sort of given it very succinctly as die to live. Die as you are, to live in that world of service. Yeah. Beauty and love. The characteristic of the highest substance is not master of power or all-knowing. Everything contained within him as if, quote, floating in his belly, unquote. Nor is it all-permeating, microscopic, existing in the smallest thing. So all permeating, all pervading, or all accommodating, these are not the highest qualities of the Supreme Substance. So there are two extremes. The Brahman is the Brihad Uttama, the bigger than the biggest, the most infinitely biggest thing of which you conceive. God is that. But then the other extreme, Param Anu, Param Atma, is the smaller than the smallest, entering even within the atom and the particles of the atom. That's also inconceivable, how the infinite God can exist within the jiva soul, who is finite. Yes? How is that? And then if the Lord is living within the soul, then how come the soul, the conditioned soul, can be going in so many different ways? They're so close, not even a hair's breadth between them, but yet can be so far. You know, is hearing or not hearing. Matak parataram nanya. No, sorry. Sarvasya chaham riddhi sanivishta matak shmitir gyanam apohanam cha. I'm seated within everybody's heart, means as Paramatma. And from me is coming remembrance, that to be us, devotees, yeah? Knowledge and forgetfulness. Apohana, to forget also. If that's the desire of the jiva soul, then all arrangements will be made through Maya, Krishna's Maya energy, to forget. So the two extremes are infinitely big, infinitely small, and Krishna is like a human, like middle-sized. So that's the best, actually. So but who attracts us unconditionally towards himself, so we only want to fall at his feet. He is such beauty, such love. That sort of conception is given by Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the highest conception against which all others must be measured. Have you any idea of the Absolute as the centre of love from anywhere in the revealed scriptures? Only Srimad Bhagavatam has given us the highest thing. That is the central world, the highest plane of existence we are called to live in. And Mahaprabhu came with that. He brought it to us freely. Not only are we fortunate to have the human form, but we have such a great prospect of life. And then the problem is, deserve and have. Okay, so the thing is there, it's like, there's a big feast put there in front of you, 108 preparations, something like that. But if you don't have any taste or desire or hunger, it doesn't really mean anything. So the whole world of the Srimad Bhagavatam is there, but you have to be, the qualification is given in the first verse by Vedavyas, Nirmatsaranam Satam. This scripture is only for those who are nirmatsara, not envious of God. So when we say envious or jealous, we don't think of it in a sort of petty way. It means who cannot tolerate that anyone should be above me. And we might think, oh, well, yeah, I'm also like that. But it's very, very, very deep and very, very subtle. So those who are nirmatsara, they can enter into this Bhagavatam conception of the Lord. So that's not for ordinary people. That's after understanding about Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadhamman pradityaja, surrender to me. And then what? What does that mean? Just you go down, do obeisances, and that's it. That proves that you've surrendered. No, it means that you're prepared to die to live. It's completely a complete self-abnegation, complete self-forgetfulness of yourself. To engage yourself so much in the seva, you completely forget yourself, what you are, who, where, what is. But everything then is just like the servant is serving the master, and everything is provided automatically. Doesn't have to worry what I will wear, what I will eat, where I will live. This thing comes with the territory, isn't it? Serving the master. So to dive deeply into that, and it begins, it's in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, that saying that supreme truth is abhigya svarat, completely independent. So that means we can't think that we hear a lot these days in the New Age movement about we are co-creators with God, that we are sort of participating in the whole event of creation and manifestation. There is a sense that can be seen, yes, insofar as, for example, the Bhagavatam also says the jiva soul is the cause of the universe, meaning that if the jiva soul is taken away, then there's only dead matter remaining, right? So the souls are animating, in that sense, animating the universe. But no, the Lord is completely abhigya svarat, and if our existence is effaced totally in a second, there's no loss to him. So it's a paradox. It's a paradox because Krishna is dependent on his devotees, very much so. He can't actually live. Can you think of Krishna without Radharani? No, it's not possible. Or other associates. So one way he's completely dependent, but he's also completely independent. We see that in Mahaprabhu's Leela, that when sometimes he's saying, I'm completely dependent on you, please tell me what to do. Shall I go to this place or that place? Shall I do this or that? I have no independence. You are my masters, and like this. Then other times, Mahaprabhu is completely detached. He's just going away in the early hours of the morning. He's leaving, going somewhere else, and saying things like, if you make this request to me anymore, you won't see me anymore. Like this. So if we can be that way, not non-envious, means that you can do with me as you like. You can save me or kill me. What is your pleasure? Yeah. And then we should ask, what type of existence are we presently engaged in? I can go down again to be an insect, a beast, a tree. I'm wandering in this vicious cycle of birth and death. This is my position. One moment I'm at the top of the cycle, the next moment I'm lost, I'm nowhere. This is action and reaction. I was reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, I've got it here, about in the 5th canto, the material forest of delusion. And Jad Bharat is preaching to Maharaj Rahugana, very intelligent king, and he's saying the conditioned soul is like a merchant who goes into the forest intending to get some cheap commodities like wood and earth, and then go into the forest and sell them, into the city and sell them at a profit. And that's the conditioned soul, coming to the material world. But when he goes into the forest, he gets lost completely. He goes deeper into the forest and can't know where he is or what he's doing. There's the effect of Maya completely covering the soul, complete forgetfulness. And that is Mahabhayam, the great fear of ignorance. So he's saying, it can go down to become an insect, a beast, or a tree. Action and reaction. It is all only action and reaction. Now I'm acting as a master. Then the reaction will come as a demand for me to pay my debt, and it will pull me down by my ear, just as the parent or school teacher punishes the misbehaving child. In this way we are moving in the material plane, higher and lower, up and down continuously. So like in the prison, there are degrees. It's not everybody is in the same very, very bad position. That's solitary confinement. It's extremely hellish. Anybody could see that. But the other prisoners, they're in the other blocks, and they have relatively more freedom. They can maybe go to the common room, look at the TV, go to the library. But ultimately, in the ultimate sense, they're prisoners. They don't have the freedom to enjoy the things which the people in the outside world are supposed to enjoy. Well, not like at the moment, of course, with the so-called pandemic. It's really like a prison. And that's very good, people to realise that, wake up, hopefully. Those who have some piety or have some sukriti, they'll be very good for them. So all are prisoners, but more or less the degree, that's all. So what people are doing is trying to be comfortable in the prison, that's all. Think if I paint my cell, put in some flowers, then I'll be happy. This is not possible. Not possible to be happy anywhere in the material world. Without Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravattanojana mamupettitu konteya punajanmana vidyate. O Arjuna, from the highest planet in the material universe, that of Lord Brahma, down to the lowest, all are places of misery, because the residents of all these planes are under the law of repeated birth and death. But for one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, there is no rebirth. How are we to come out of this vicious cycle and attain the fulfillment of our life? Our only friends are those who are carrying this information to the public. The absolute centre is love. Our best friends are those who are on such an errand. All other seeming friends should be dismissed. They should all be dismissed if we are sincere. Now this will be the form of our progressive life, to move towards that centre. And for that there must be elimination and new acceptance. In this way, leaving behind all other formalities, the inner spirit must make us mad to advance further towards him. The verse, Bhoktarang Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. So this verse, in 1966, just after ISKCON had been registered as a society in New York, then Srila Prabhupada, he gave this verse, not the verse itself, but based on what this verse is saying, he wrote a leaflet and called it the Peace Formula. And he was saying that if anybody can understand these three things, then they will get peace in their life. Bhoktarang Jagat Tapasam. Krishna is saying, I am the enjoyer. Bhoga, I am the enjoyer of everything. Jagya, of all the sacrifices which a human being may do. Tapasam, of all austerities or penances which they may do. Bhoktarang Jagya Tapasam. So number one, I am the enjoyer. Second, Sarvalok Maheshwaram. I am the Lord of all planets or planes of life or planes of consciousness, of existence. Sarvalok Maheshwaram. Then third, Suridam Sarvabhutanam. That I am also in the heart. I am the best friend of everyone existing within their own heart. Suridam. Freedom means the heart, and Suridam means in the heart of the heart. Suridam Sarvabhutanam, all living entities. Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Who knows this about me, they can get peace. There's no other way. So this Lord, who is the Yagyapati, the great Lord Narayan, who's receiving the fruits of all the sacrifice of all the universes, and who is the Lord of all the planets and demigods and planes of existence, he is within our own heart as our best friend. Yeah? So Krishna is saying, don't be so much awed and cowed down by my power, my majesty. I'm also your very intimate friend at the same time. Okay, so then this devotee asks to Guru Maharaj a question. In Chaitanya Leela, the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit is Pundarik Vidyanidhi, But what is Pundarik Vidyanidhi's position in Krishna Leela? And you know the answer, but this is the story. Gadadhar Pandit has been considered to be Radharani's incarnation, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi is considered to be Vrishabhanu Raj, the father of Radharani in Krishna Leela. And then the student says, Pundarik Vidyanidhi has such uncommon pastimes. They're very difficult to understand. Yeah, because he didn't at all fit the profile of what we might think of to be like a sadhu. He was very opulent and householder, very opulent, beautiful house, clothes, furniture and everything. So he is Paramahamsa. Different devotees have come to this world to show different types of bhajan. Bhajan is the common factor amongst all such extraordinary devotees. They are all fully devoted, but they are showing themselves as different types, different models. So all are not one and the same. But their common end, Krishna consciousness, is to be considered. If one is directed totally towards Krishna consciousness in all positions, then he is properly situated. Suppose there are many patients suffering from the same disease. The doctor may not advise everyone to take the same diet. It will be similar, but not the same. According to the capacity or condition of the stomach, one patient is given one thing and another something else. Similarly, the aim of those who are going towards Krishna consciousness is as one, but the physical arrangements may be a little different. So in the case of the Paramahamsas, devotees of extraordinary characteristics, their activities should not be judged in relation to the general standard of what is considered good and bad. One example of this is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. In his youth, Gadadhar Pandit was always very eager to see sadhus, so one day Mukunda asked him, "Would you like to go and see a sadhu? I know of a good sadhu, I can take you." Yes, take me to him." So Mukunda brought him there. Gadadhar saw that Pundarik Vidyanidhi was sitting on a very soft bed with the finest covers. He was smoking an elaborately carved pipe. His hair was styled very beautifully, and his clothes were of the most expensive cut. Gadadhar thought, "Oh, what sort of sadhu has Mukunda brought me to see?" He had some doubt in his mind. Mukunda knew this, he could feel it. So he chanted one shlok from Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho bhakiyang stanakalakutam tigang saya payayad apasadvi lebegating dattuchitang tatonyam kang vadayalung sharanam brajema. In this verse, Uddhava is speaking to Vidura. Who should I worship other than Krishna? His magnanimity is so great that when Putana came to kill him by poison, she was given the position as mother to him in his domain. Among those who are worshipable, he is the most magnanimous personality. Who shall I have as my worshipable Lord greater than this? So that's the example. Putana was a terrible, terrible she-witch demon and one of the devotees of Kamsa, and he deputed her to go to Vrindavan and kill Krishna. So when she came in within the into Braja Mandal, her form changed from ghastly, really ghastly, to a beautiful, beautiful gopi, like a Lakshmi. And as she was walking through the village, even the other girls were looking at her saying, "Wow, who's this? It's a new one. We haven't seen her before." And she went straight into the house, Krishna's house, unchallenged. Because in those days, who could feed with the breast milk, they could feed the child as well as the mother within the village, environment. That was the family life. So she went in, took Krishna on her lap, and put her breast to his mouth, and she'd put the kalakut on her breast. That's like a very deadly poison, like just one speck, you'll die immediately. And so Krishna started sucking, and then sucking harder and harder and harder and harder. And then he gradually began to suck out her life, her life air. This. And in the Bhagavatam it says she's shouting, "Leave me, leave me!" And so then she assumed her form, reverted to her original ghastly demoniac form, very huge, with the big teeth and all the things. And she ran outside and eventually crashed down dead. And then everybody came to see, "Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna?" And Krishna was playing on a hill. She was like a small hill. He was just playing on top. And so the point is that she was given the position of Krishna's mother or nurse, eternal position like that, because he didn't see she's coming to kill me with the poison on the breast. She's coming to give service, to feed me. So he took it like that. So he's saying, "Who shall I? Krishna is so merciful. Who shall I have more than this, my master?" So Mukunda knew that if he said that verse, if he recited that verse, this would affect Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Indeed. So, seeing the doubt of Gadadhar, he told that verse. And this shloka created some movement in the heart of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And despite his external appearance, gradually something else began to show itself. Throwing away the valuable pipe, he began to shred his expensive clothing and his bedding, began to tear his well-decorated hair, and show many different kinds of extraordinary behavior. Then he began to roll on the ground, his body spasming. Words from that verse, "Kang vadayalum sharanam rajema," were coming intermittently from his mouth. Then Gadadhar thought, "Oh, even a small sentiment about the magnanimity of Krishna can produce so much revolution in his heart. He must be a great devotee." In this way, Gadadhar Pandit began to understand the dignified position of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So it is not always that the man may be known by his dress. For Pundarik Vidyanidhi, his opulent appearance and activity is only an outer showing. He does not care. He has no attachment for it. To him, everything is one and the same. He is only showing such an opulent fashion externally, but he's not a slave to those things, beautiful clothes, hair, or any other thing. Similarly, it's told about Rajrishi Janak. If he should have one hand on the soft breast of a lady and another hand in the fire, there's no change, no disturbance in his consciousness. Both cases, enjoying and suffering, are the same to him. Softness and burning sensation, he is tolerating both. So if a man who can tolerate the pain of fire burning puts his hand on the soft part of a lady, it is nothing to him. The inner man is otherwise engaged. His outward manifestation is only an external posture, and it cannot affect him at all. It cannot disturb him from his engagement. Do you follow? Student, yes. Another example is Lord Ramchandra. The day before he was to be installed on the throne, all in the kingdom were rejoicing, but Ramchandra himself was in a serious frame of mind. So, we are, living conditioned souls moved by happiness and distress, right? Constantly, in an endless alternating chain. Something so good thing happens, you become happy. And then something else bad, and it becomes, it's going like that. So yoga means to be not moved by that, not disturbed by that. Doesn't mean we won't feel it. Doesn't mean to become like a stone with no feeling. You feel it. Of course you feel it. But because your center, you have engagement with something else, it's not really, it's kind of there on the surface, like the wave on the surface. It's moving, it's agitated. But deep in the ocean, it's not really affected much. They feel something, some wave. For example, when as I mentioned about Jad Bharat and Maharaj Rahugana, when Maharaj Rahugana, before their discussion, and Jad Bharat was carrying the palanquin, and he was acting like a deaf and dumb and stupid person, so that people wouldn't talk to him and disturb him, so he could constantly remember Krishna without disturbance. So he was employed by these king's servants to help. They were minus one man, so they took him to help carry the palanquin. But because he was looking at the ground and moving all the time to avoid stepping on any ants, he was like this. It wasn't carrying the palanquin nicely, steadily. So the king chastised him. "You foolish man, you brute. Can't you even carry the palanquin properly? Don't you know I am Maharaj Rahugana, king of the severe estate?" And he went on like this. A couple of times he chastised him. Jad Bharat never said anything. Finally, third time, he started talking to the king. "Oh king, you're thinking you're the king and I'm the servant. That is just now, that's a conventional relative condition. In the future, that all completely can change. I could be the king, you could be the servant." So he started to preach to him, and it went on. And then Maharaj Rahugana was very touched, he was very intelligent, and he got down from the palanquin, did his obeisance to the feet of Bharat, and said, please instruct me. And the conversation is going on. And then he gave that verse, which is very famous, it's quoted a lot. "O king, without smearing the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee all over one's body, one cannot attain Krishna consciousness." That's the importance of the Vaishnava, the devotee. So, but it does mention there that Jad Bharat, even though the king, he'd done his obeisance and apologised profusely, he still felt some waves of dissatisfaction within his mind because of those insults. But it says that he by his own will, he just overcame them, let them go. So it's not that you don't feel it, you don't feel these things, but you're not so much moved by them. That's the idea. So here we have Ramachandra himself. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's in a very serious frame of mind. His mood was not very light, not very pleasing. I think, well, God should always be happy, isn't it? He was thinking that the next day he's going to receive the great responsibility of discharging his duty to the kingdom. A great burden is coming on my head. I shall have the responsibility of looking after so many subjects. This was his sober mood. Then, when he heard that instead of being enthroned, he was to go to the forest, that his stepmother had forced his father to enthrone Bharat, her son, and to banish Ramchandra to the forest, Ramachandra's temperament remained the same. He was going to discharge a duty. To get the throne is duty. To obey his father's will by going to the forest, also duty. By accepting banishment to the forest, he's discharging a duty, and his temperament doesn't change. His balance of mind, his equilibrium, is not disturbed. He is not a slave to any event, be it good or bad. He's perfectly equipoised to carry out his duty. Even if he must go to hell, he's not in any way disturbed. So that verse in Bhagavad Gita 1865, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nashochati Nakangshati Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. So, how does it start? Did I say? Huh?
How does what start?
The verse, yeah.
You just said it.
I know, I've forgotten already. Brahma Bhuta, who fixed in the Brahman, soul realization, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, and is completely happy in that. Remember last week we quoted that verse from the Gita, 6th chapter, about that. He realized himself through transcendental senses, completely thing, there's nothing greater than this. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, na shochiti na kangshti, is no hankering for anything that you haven't got. Nasochati means, and then nakangshati, no lamentation for anything that you haven't got or anything you've lost. Samak sarveshu bhuteshu, a person who's situated in that position, mad bhaktim labate param, they can serve me. Their devotional service actually begins in that stage or from that stage. So we have to be yogis in a sense, bhakti yogis, of course. And it'll be very difficult, like Krishna says there, For one whose mind is uncontrolled, self-realization is very difficult. Very difficult means essentially impossible. But one who controls their mind and senses and who strives by the right means is assured of success. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Narayana parasarve nakutasya bibhiti svarga aparvaga narkeshu api tulyata darshana. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Lord Narayan never fear any condition of life. For them the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. So it's from 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you know this, the context of this verse?
You can tell the
Tell? Who said the verse? Any idea? Yeah.
spoken by Lord Shiva.
Yeah. 2?
I told the other day, Kathy, I think you were there. You remember the story of King Chitraketu? He saw Lord Shiva sitting with Parvati on his lap.
So this is coming here. This verse is in connection with the following story related in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Once Lord Shiva was sitting with his wife Parvati on his lap. By his desire she was there and he was resting. Then his friend and previous classmate Chitraketu happened by, and seeing this made some remark. "Oh Shankar, what are you doing?" "Of course I don't question your dignity, but to the public it's not a good lesson, not a good example. You should consider this." Parvati, you're saying, you're appearing and acting like an ordinary sense enjoyer. And he was at that time, Lord Shiva, it says he was surrounded by, he was an assembly of sages, So, that was even more so. But Parvati was enraged. "You don't know the greatness of Mahadev? You're making some remark about him? You're ridiculing his practice? Your views are not pure, so you must take a demonic birth." But Chitraketu only said, "Yes, I accept your curse," and he went away. Then Mahadev, his mood a little angry, spoke to Parvati. "Do you know devotees of Narayan? Do you know who they are? Chitraketu has not done anything wrong. He's my friend, and what I am doing should not be publicly done. That is why his remark is not very insulting to me. He's my friend, and in a friendly way he gave such a slight remark. But you could not tolerate it. You cast a curse upon him. And what was his attitude? He could have cast a similar curse on you. He has that power, but he did not. He only accepted your curse and went away. So who are those devotees? Do you know them?" Then he told this shloka, Narayana parasarve nakutasya bibhiti swapa pavarga narkeshu api tulyata darshano. The devotees of Narayan do not care for anything of this world, good or bad. Heaven and hell are equal to them. They're not afraid of any condition of life. They're prepared for any eventuality, whether svarga, apavarga or narak. Heaven, salvation or hell, all are equal to them. If such a devotee has to go to hell, the other sufferers there will be benefited. But no hellish thing will be able to touch him. He is always surrounded by the Lord's protection. Just as when a man in good health goes to serve an infectious patient, the infection cannot enter him. But if the helping man's own health is weak, he will fall prey to that infection. Very topical at the moment. Similarly, the devotees of Narayana are of such a type that wherever they are, whatever unfavorable circumstances they are in, they are protected by Bhakti rasa. Their, quote, undergarment, unquote, is of the purest material. Nothing can pierce or harm them. So tulyata darshana, everything is equal in their eyes. Their vision is such. They are wandering in the world of Krishna. Wherever they go is by Krishna's will. And whatever comes to them, they see, oh, it is Krishna's will. I am serving his purpose. They are living only with this idea, that they are serving his purpose. They're not suffering from any local interest, but always there in such consciousness. They remain always merged in the universal interest. Any questions? Oh, no.
Universal interest means like a well-being of the whole.
No self-interest.
I heard universal interest.
Oh, yeah, they remain always merged in the universal interest. Yeah, everything for him. So that verse by Prahlad, Natevitu Shvata Kitimi Vishnum, that, the general people, they're always living on the surface of everything, surface of events, surface of thoughts, surface of everything. So underneath, inside, is Vishnu, the maintainer, and that's the Nirgun plane, and it's called Shuddha Sattva or Vishuddha Sattva. So that plane is there's no it's eternal existence. So to come in contact with that, Natevidu Shvatakatimi Vishnum, they never take that path to enter deep into reality, to dive deep, to look deep. It's just living like on the surface, on the waves. But inside is the existence. There's no creation and no dissolution. That's the Lord. So the Nirgun plane is an example, right? Once after the Kurukshetra war was finished, one young rishi named Uttanka met Krishna and told him, "Krishna, I shall curse you." "Oh, why?" "Because you are the cause of all the misery that is the outcome of that great battle of Kurukshetra. So many widows, so many orphans, so many crippled persons are all crying out of pain and misery, and you are at the bottom of it all." Then Krishna said, "Oh, you Rishi Kumar, young Rishi, whatever power you've accumulated by your penance will be finished if you'll come to utilize it against me. No effect will come to me. I am in Nirgun. My position is without any material quality. It is gunatit, transcending the material qualities. There is sattva, raja, tama, the three gunas, materially binding qualities, goodness, passion and ignorance. But above these three, there is the universal angle of vision. My position is there. That plane is ahoituki apratihata. There exists the causeless and irresistible flow of the most fundamental world. Just as electricity has vibration, flow, so I exist in a plane of dynamic movement. That movement is irresistible and it is causeless. It is no object, but is an automatic, wholesome movement of infinite character. I am there. All my activity is from that plane. So waves from any other plane that will come to clash with it will be finished. The plane in which I am moving will continue forever. It is eternal. It has no beginning and no end. It is a harmonious flow. I am there. Nothing can affect my position. Whatever relative power you, Rishi Kumar, have acquired will be finished if you throw it against the irresistible flow where I am moving. This was Krishna's reply. Like that. So exploitation, the end of exploitation reduced to zero, sattva, rajas, tamas, reduced to zero, and it becomes merged in prakriti. That's nirvana of the Buddhists, yeah? Sometimes it's even called prakriti nirvana. It's like the primordial oneness of creation. So, and then on the other side, on the positive side, it begins the spiritual. So that's just the abscissa, the marginal, the tatashta plane. So it is From one aspect Nirvana, from another aspect Brahman. Sometimes it's even called Brahma Nirvana. But as Guru Maharaj sort of explained it in a nice way, again it's inconceivable because it's an inconceivable plane, it's a marginal plane. So it's neither one nor the other. It's not in the spiritual world proper, but neither is it in the material world, because the qualities of the material nature have been reduced. So it's that like 0 point. But the way he explained it was, you can think of it like Nirvana is the Tatashta, but it's the down-facing side, down-facing towards the material side, and the Brahma Jyoti is up-facing towards the Paravyam, spiritual sky, and the service world, Vaikuntha, Goloka, etc. So naturally, when Nirvana literally means Nirvana. Vana means forest, like Vrindavana, forest of Vrinda. So Nirvana means out of the forest. It's out of the forest of material entanglement. Okay, but that's not, the positive side. So that's sometimes called extinction. The Buddhists consider it extinction of existence, but of course it isn't. Extinction of existence. Existence can't be extinguished, but is a complete, like unconsciousness, similar to like the Brahman state, which is also sometimes called spiritual suicide, entering the cell and locking the door and throwing away the key, which could be there for eons and eons of time. So I can't enjoy in the material world, that's all suffering, and we know that, into suffering, so let me just finish everything. It's like my body is so diseased, if I take an injection and die, I won't feel any pain. It's great. But then, hang on, I haven't got a body. Body's very good, very useful, right? So we want our spiritual body, service body, yeah. So at the moment we're using like what we have. It's very, very limited and very conditioned as it is. But still, through that, we, like the Bhagavatam says, the thing which has caused our entanglement, that very thing can cause our liberation also. So the activity, the karma, which has caused us to become entangled, that karma activity, used in connection with Krishna, will cause our to go out from it. Yeah, like... Yad, was it? Yad karoshi, yadashnashi, Ed Jehoshi Dadasya, Yat Tapashashi Kondya, Tad Kurushva Madarpanam. Whatever you do, eat, offer or give away, whatever austerity you may perform, do it as a service to me. I was speaking to one, my brother actually, and he was saying, how can I, because he lives in Bournemouth, doesn't have any association, and you think, without associations, how can I do service? And I said, well, yeah, without the direct service, like of a Vaishnav, Guru Vaishnav, then like that, you think what I'm doing, everything I'm doing, eating, offering, giving away, sacrifices I'm making, all of that, I'm doing as an offering to the Lord. And actually the whole thing becomes changed. You can imagine, you're doing the washing up and you think, this is so boring, You're washing these dirty plates and then, but that's because we're not in Krishna consciousness. If you think, I'm doing it for Krishna, the same activity becomes totally changed. It's like, far out, it's very nice, Doing it as service for the satisfaction of the Lord. So it's very practical, Krishna consciousness. It's not anything vague or sentimental And the chanting, the holy name, every day will be working together with our service, chanting and seva. And both are important. We're chanting and saying, oh, Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Then we're getting service and we're doing service. That service then is encouraging us to enter deep into the holy name chanting. They're working together. So That's why it's important, because the sadhana, the practice. Otherwise, if we're not chanting, and gradually we'll lose the taste. Our service, our activity will become dry and tasteless. It'll become karma, actually, not bhakti. And joy.
On this positive note.
Just to end in the middle of everything. Sorry. Hare Krishna. Who's
Ramana, do you need a book?
Hare Rama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Namo
Krishna Jadavaya Nama
Yadavaya Yadavaya
Yadavaya Madhavaya Giridhari Gopinatha Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chanda Narayana Sri Vasani Gaurabhakta Vrinda Jai Goshai Gari Jini Chanda Dasa Tan Shabadu Tan Yaracharam Sevi Bhakta Shanindasa Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naradamana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jai.